it's good morning. So, put good morning if it's still for you, or put good afternoon if it's for you, depending on where you're at. We're going to see how it kind of goes. Um, just putzing around the garage today, nothing major. But I was thinking, right? I'm going to put it right out there so you don't have to watch the whole video if this thing gets long winded. I got an estimate. Yes, yes. Imagine that, right? This is why, anyways, I put an estimate together and I'm going to give you a description, and then you kind of let me know if you're seasoned into what you would pick for a garage door opener. So I got to go with a LiftMaster. The reason being, Tanner's here. Tanner says first. I was just thinking about Tanner, those nice vehicles. Um, Anywho, so Tanner actually probably be a good one. So I got to go with a LiftMaster. It's going to be a residential. Kevin. Kevin says hi. I thought he was going to say I'm second. Second's better than being last. But so I'm a little bit stuck because I don't really deal with the LiftMaster too much. But this customer has four garage doors on their property, two like on a shed, two on the house, and so what it is the like shed. It's a really nice shed. Let's just say it's basically a house. It has already existing older LiftMaster, probably if I had to guess 2012 era ish maybe. Anywho, I don't think they make a red. Maybe they do. That's why I put the thumbnail. I don't think they put a make a red unit anymore. Let me know if they do. If they make the red covered LiftMaster. So, anyways, there's already two LiftMasters in the shed. So I want to go with LiftMaster in the barn or I'm sorry, in the house. LiftMaster in the shed. Everything's 8 foot tall. We're going to change out the doors. The doors that are existing there are old Wayne Marks. The whatever. Oh, don't forget, you guys, don't forget hit like button. Just helps wake people up that are sleeping. Nighttime, that kind of stuff. Maybe pop a Tony or something. You never know. So I don't think we got to go camera, right? I don't think we need to do a camera. I was debating between, I don't think there's a room above. So, and what size? It's 18. One's an 18 by 8 tall. We're going to go with a steel back, probably 2-inch thick door. The doors are brown. Sometimes you're visual like me, right? The doors are brown on the outside. I don't know what they're going to be on the inside for being steel back using this other manufacturer. Maybe Rich Beal let me know if he with his company there. So I'm going to go obviously with a professional series. Obviously, it probably should have Wi-Fi. Because the thing was, which was weird, I should have took a picture. I might have the picture. Maybe I could zoom in. I can't, I don't know if I didn't take a very good picture of the openers. But he put Mastercraft, right? Mastercraft in there. And he's like, those things are junk. So I'm thinking, all right, hey, we got 2 likes. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. But like I said, I got to go LiftMaster. So I'm open to what kind of models you guys would recommend. Do I go half horsepower? Half horsepower should be fine, obviously, with it being balanced out, right? Anybody also, too, they know roughly what the price is on them. You can always throw that in there if you've bought one or recently or anything. Probably going to be, probably do like a 2 remote for 2 doors. Obviously, I'm not going to try to do four remotes to control everything. That just gets kind of nuts. It's just the 2 remotes, 2-button remote is for your garage door, for your house, and the other ones are for your barn, your shed, your man cave. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. But I'm not doing jack shafts. We're doing trolley. Okay, we're going trolley, and everything's set up for trolley. It's supposed to be in there. So that's what I'm kind of wondering. I was kind of doing a little bit of research, but there's really not too much on the old interweb that I seen. Maybe I just wasn't looking in the right spot, but I thought, holy cow, somebody should make a video, the residential, and boom, boom, boom. Here you go. This is the model. This is this. But then I was trying to lean towards. I was like, I'll just go with this model. I'll go with this 3/4 horse. And I was like, crap. I said it's chain drive, and I thought, do I really want to go chain drive? You know what I mean? I don't really need chain drive. It's not like I'm putting them on old wood doors. So I was looking at the picture as best I could. I don't think there's living quarters. And I thought, but what if there is? and I just don't catch it, or maybe it's a one of those like guest loft or something up there, and I didn't catch that, and I didn't know that. I should have seen what he had up there, but he didn't say anything about the noise. He just said they're basically junk, the Menards brand ones. What's Tanner got? Tanner's got something. He says, the A98O22 or the bigger 98O32. I better take a screenshot so I got this. Oops. Bam. Oh, I didn't know you were working today, Evan. I was kind of I didn't know you were working. I know Evan was messaging me. He was messaging me about the that door. What's up about that door, Mr. Evan? You have to let me know. I obviously you're at work, so I understand it's short-winded there. But like I said, we're talking about the sneaky bracket, right? And if any of you guys have followed along with Tanner, or I'm sorry, not Tanner, but with Evan on this door situation with no headroom, I was going to ask Evan, I was going to say, what's the problem here? What's going on with the customer here? Is the customer not want to spend more money? Does the customer not want to wait? Is it just we think we can make it work? Because if you don't have the headroom, I could definitely use the support of the community. Come on, man. Let them know. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's just not worth it. It's a whole engineered process thing, and it's like putting monster tires on a small vehicle. That just doesn't work. You know what I mean? It just does not work. I got trolley. So those ones are those the jack shaft ones, Tanner? Doing trolley, T-rail. That's what I'm thinking. But I was just worried if I do the chain, unless you put that adapter piece in there. Sometimes those rails come a little bent. I've noticed. I don't know if anybody else has ever noticed that, those T-rails. Sometimes they'll have a little bend to them. You sight down, you're like, how the hell did that happen? Was that me? Was that delivery? Was it just been through so many hands? It's got a little whoop to it. I think first fires up, kind of the whap, whap, whap. The chain does a slap, slap, slap where, customers, it's like my old business partner used to tell me. He said, we always get, I think it was, how did he always say that? We always got way more compliments. And it seemed like he always would say, we always get more compliments on a new door and new opener install than I think just a door install. And I think he was contributing it to the opener because people come out and they're so used, right? That's like when you drive your car, right? And somebody makes a change, you're taking it in to get the alignment, and you're like, whoa, something changed. Something's just different. Or getting to a different vehicle, it doesn't feel, it feels foreign. I think that's the same thing when they come out and they listen to it and you're just kind of like not used to it. So you're like, sounds good to me. Like everything's running good. And they're like, oh my gosh, that door is running so much quieter. It's like sometimes when you throw some oil on it. Haircut. A while back. I mean, to a beard, like I said, it's been a little bit before I had a haircut. Belt or chain? Well, I'm open to options. If I feel like if I go chain, I'm going AC. Is what I'm thinking. So I'll take like an AC model. Like I said, I don't need to have no light. Half or probably 3/4. Like I said, probably really don't need 3/4. And then since Rich B's here, Rich, do you know on the brown doors from your company that you get your door supplies, do you know if you order a brown door, is it going to be a white on the inside or is it going to be brown on the inside if it's a steel back, steel on steel? Just curious, because some manufacturers are different. Most obviously do brown on the outside, white on the inside. I think Tanner had that. Who was that company, Tanner? I forget. Wasn't it you that sent me that stuff that one time? Hey, we got 5 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting like button. But it was like brown on brown, and it was like, ooh, it's like that looks foreign, man. Like I was like, most times, sometimes the customer has something brown on the outside, but the inside's white. I mean, typically people, unless you're mean in a dungeon, it's not brown, I mean, it's always white. So I was like, man, I could see getting called out on that. Customer be like, it's brown on the inside? Oh, hell no. Yeah. How do we fix that? I never had to paint the inside of a door. Dun, 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 dun. I'll let you know later this week once I check it out. Probably Thursday once I see it. for myself. Nice. Nice. Yeah, like I said, man, I'm telling you, like the guy said, either bring it down, do what, it was like 6'3" or something. Or you got to get the dimensions. You could, but you got to know where the track's going to land. You know what I mean? And you get the springs up in the header part a little bit, but you're working with some really, no matter what, it better be a custom door. That's just the bottom line. I mean, it's going to be one way or another. It's just too stinking tight unless you put another, I don't think has anybody ever came across one piece doors? Does anybody out there sell still one piece doors? I don't know. Freeze, what's up, mister? Top Gates says hi. Hello. Yeah, it was our jack shaft. He says, I'm thinking the better get this one, 840 half horsepower belt with drive, Wi-Fi. Oh, and it has the camera. They are ones we carry, he says, are tried and true. Okay, okay. All right, all right. I believe you. Are the half chain drive? I just don't know. I mean, I'm assuming, right? I'm assuming that now you can take the camera and flip it up, right? They don't have to use the camera. I mean, it's there, but it does not have to be operated. That's the only thing. And I just rather not have the camera there. But if it's what Tanner's saying, it's kind of the tried and true. And the old LiftMaster, like I said, it's sad because the garage is really nice. And I was thinking, I thought, I can't really think off the top of my head a nice Genie, and I'm not going Genie because he's already got LiftMaster, and he already mentioned, he said, hey, the ones out there. So he already knows in his head those are good openers. They've worked good. We don't need to replace those. And so we're going to go obviously with LiftMaster, so we, keep things kind of mingled the same. But like I said, Genies, I really can't ever think about any Genies. I go, man, those are really good looking openers. They're all plastic covers, as far as I know. I don't think there's any Genies that don't even seem like I remember. Well, maybe some of the really old ones, like 60s and 70s, they had some metal covers. Thanks for that info, though. Oh, Rich says, white. That's good. That's good. I say that's good. Um, Eric says belt and chain both have advantages and disadvantages. So one thing I've noticed with the chains, I used to buy the plastic piece. I forget where I got them. I got a whole little slew of them at the shop. I used to buy that plastic piece they'd give you for the box store ones. So it's just a chunk of plastic, and all it does is keep that chain spread out. Man, I tell you what, you put that even on a standard professional LiftMaster, makes it run pretty nice. It doesn't slap, that chain doesn't slap, make all that noise. Runs pretty smooth. I'm pretty impressed with them. But like I said, the door's gonna be brand new. It's all gonna be fresh. I think we can do belt drive. But what's funny is I was thinking about it at a property of mine. I was thinking, I actually kind of like the noise of an opener. I know that sounds weird. Now, why would you want to know the noise of an opener? I noticed it because I like to back in, to a stall, and when I can hear the opener stop running, and I know the door, technically, right? You should always check. The door is all the way up. And I've also noticed at one of my old previous houses, I used to like the noise because I knew when somebody, something was going on, right? So if an opener's too quiet, to me, it's kind of a bad thing. I mean, I could see why if you got upstairs and all that kind of stuff, you definitely want quiet because, yeah, what do I say? Like when I was a kid, I'm traumatized still because my parents, my set of parents, they would literally go out in the morning at like 6 o'clock in the morning. They go out for grocery shopping, and I had the bedroom right above. And man, they had that. I remember there was an ad. If anybody ever comes across that Genie ad, it was for the screw drives. I'm talking the ones with like the the black cover and the red covers on them. And they were bragging how quiet it was. And I thought, boy, is that commercial full of crap. I said, you didn't live in my household, you know what I mean? Like I remember they'd leave north. And you'd be, okay, they left, you go back to sleep, right? And they come back about 2 hours later, bed be sitting there, feel like it's shaking. You're like, you holy crap, they're back, And I swore I seen a commercial one time, Genie, it's silent, so silent. And I thought, not that screwdriver, man, not that old screwdriver with the aluminum trolley and that worm, or the worm gear, whatever you want to call it, the shaft. No, thank you. Dun, dun, dun. Loud, he says, what does it say? The 8160 is half Much quieter, but only comes with one remote, so you need to add remotes to your quote. Let me get a screen of that. Not too concerned because I'm assuming, and I try to like, I don't know if you guys are kind of like me. Hey, we see we got 5 likes too. If you don't mind, hit that like button. Just helps wake up the algo, brings more people, and it's always great to have you here. Um, so this particular customer, you ever have that customer? You can kind of smell it. Yeah. So this particular customer, I'm probably gonna be like, I'm gonna make sure they get 2. Rich is sending me the chain. They're probably just gonna get they'll probably get they might get 4 emotes total. You know what I mean? But they're gonna get 2 buttons. 2 buttons. That's what I'm gonna aim for. That's what I'm aiming for. That way you hand it to, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because how it's like when you hand that customer that remote that's got 3 buttons, it's like they go, "Ooh, I can't live without. Like I can't live with that third button just not doing nothing. Hey, you want to program that to another door? Hey, could you follow me over to my mom's house? She's only, 2 hours away, and you could program it. It'd be really nice because she's, blah 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 blah, and it'd be nice to get into her house." And you're like, huh? And you're just like, because it's like you've seen it. It's like I said, sometimes it's this mental game. You know what I mean? Like where so I'm gonna probably make sure they only get 2 button remotes. You know what I mean? Just saying. So I might just not even use the remotes that come with it. Okay. So he's got the cameras optional. It's optional. See, and I was gonna play it. I know how this is gonna go. I was gonna play it with just putting like Liftmaster Professional Series, and I realized that I'm more likely gonna have problems with that because it's gonna be like they're gonna do their homework and they're gonna be like, so what model is that? Could you let me know what model that is? Like, so I can like Google it and like see what the price tag is on it first and see if you're like ripping me off, or like I want to know what kind of options it has, and you know what I mean. So I just kind of like, you better get a stinking model number on there. The camera's too. I know the camera. But you know how it is. It's there, right? It's there. I just kind of walk away. But if they want to use it, it's there. You know what I mean? I thought they had problems with it. They had to redo something on it because the wires were getting. I thought they used to be able to rotate it. Now it's only a drop down type thing. Oh. Let's see what Kevin's got there too. Kevin's kind of talking my numbers here. These are, I remember, the kind of the 8365 2 light, single light. I feel like this would probably be a nice garage to have a 2 light system. It's pretty big, pretty roomy, lots of nice brand new colors in there. So yeah. So I'm kind of thinking, I still like my ACs. I don't know about the DCs. I think of Andy all the time on his videos. God bless him. He does great videos on those residential openers. And I think about the way they sound like a vacuum cleaner. It's always like, I'm just like, I don't know about that. you know. Ta-da! Eric Scott. What's Eric got? Says, I want an AC motor with the V-belt drive inside. Light bulb. What's this? A light blue metal cover. What does it say? Light on the front and back with light bulbs. Yeah, with light bulbs that can replace mechanical limits. I know mechanical limits would be nice. 2 remote standard. Interchangeable belt. So that belt with that, I feel like there's a reason they don't do it. V belt drive inside. Okay, I was thinking the outside, and I thought there's got to be a reason. It's just too long. They have to stretch it so tight. Could you imagine like a big car belt, big whopping car belt down there? Maybe it'd work. I don't know. I mean, it's like that one, right? Maybe some of you guys seen that video with the one that's got the I don't know how it works, right? But it's got a gear or whatever, and it brings out the shaft, and the shaft extends way out into the garage. It would like touch the hood of your vehicle if it's on the other side because it stretches so far. I'm like, thank goodness we came up with better ideas than that hunk of junk. Or a chain. Ooh, chain rail. What's up? What does that say? You totally. I don't know if that is. If that's. I don't know if this one's whatever. Oh, there's a little bit of love. They're not packaging them with 3-button remotes as much. No more. Really? What's up? What's up? I see it's was it Buck's Garage Door there? Burke. Sorry. A little small print. So I think I got a little bit of intel. A little bit of intel. So hopefully everybody's enjoying the day off. You know what I mean? That's kind of nice. I'm gonna make sure this try to get this quote. I've been pushing it off a little bit too long. So it's one of those things. I even looked at a job yesterday up at a wedding, and you know how that is, right? You're like, hey, we're up here. Let's swing by a job, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna reach out to that customer or not. It's a long story. It's a little bit goofy story about their keypad and stuff. I got bumped by a vehicle, and I don't know if they fixed it or not. So I'm kind of just gonna let it sit because sometimes they're a little crazy. Anybody got any crazy customers? You know how that goes. I'm probably the only one that gets crazy customers. Which has got the DC motor put out more torque than the AC ones with smaller motors. That's crazy. I only know the only thing I just don't know. I wonder if they still offer lifetime warranty on the DC motors. Remember how they used to do that with the AC motors? That was always the big thing, right? That was kind of like kind of like my sales pitch, right? You walk in and you tell them something, and you're like, by the way, the motor has a lifetime warranty on it. And they're like, it does? Yep. So if you really don't even think about using that other guy, these ones, the motor has a lifetime warranty. Lifetime. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And you're like, I gotcha. The motor. I didn't say the unit. I didn't say the whole head, the motor inside, which never, I can't say I've ever had a motor. Never had a motor go bad. I never have in my years of experience. It's always been, circuit board. It's always a capacitor. It's the gears inside. Can't ever just say, yep, the motor shot. You know what I mean? If it was blowing capacitors or something goofy, then obviously probably the motor was going bad. But you just tell them, say, and they just buy a new one anyways because it's just they're so darn cheap that it's hard to sit there and put that kind of money in tech and labor and all that kind of stuff in there. What's up at Affordable? Not much, just another day thinking about business. When you're in the garage door business, a lot of other businesses too. You're always thinking about work, right? Oh, got to get that quote done. Oh, got to do this. Oh, got to buy this. Got to order this. Got to fix this. I was there. Should make a video talking about garage door openers great again. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's too many bean counters. Is it the cafe standard? Is that what I was just hearing? The cafe? Is it called the cafe standard for the automobiles? And I was thinking, I guess they get hit if they over so much, like this whole GM fiasco with the 6.2 liter. And if they can get one more mile out of it, per gallon, they don't have to pay. And I just went, oh my gosh. We are just, we all, including myself, we all just a bunch of guinea pigs. A bunch of guinea pigs. We can't be treated like adults in America. You know what I mean? We have to be treated like little guinea pigs or little sheep. I don't understand how. I just can't understand how the government has their hands. They must have their hands in the garage door business too. Like I said, I think all this stuff is like subsidized by some standard. You know what I mean? And if they're like, you don't do this, if you don't meet, it's like I think I sent a little clip to Rich B. I was talking about the electric right? You know, and all the electric and the solar panels and all the wind turbines and that, but my electric bill isn't going down. And I'm like, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth, right? We keep doing all this stuff, and I'm like, nothing, my bills are not going down. I'm sure yours aren't either. You know what I mean? So it's nothing but a load of garbage. And so when these openers and stuff, same thing. I think they're just making them cheaper. It's not to benefit you. It's not to benefit me. It's not to benefit the customer because I was watching, who was I watching the other day? And they were talking about how these cars, they were saying, you know, why they've learned Toyota was making good cars for a while, right? And they learned that when, you know, hey, if these cars are lasting 300,000 miles, you know, that's not good. They need to, but the standard has gotten so bad that now, hopefully, hopefully, right? But you know, people would vote with their dollars, but I have no faith in it. I have no faith because there's just so many people out there that are just loyal fanboys, you know, you know what I mean? You know, like, you know, my daddy had a John Deere. I'm always going to drive John Deere. I'll never drive nothing else. Well, it's like when I talked to the hydraulic guy the other day and I said, what's the worst hydraulic cylinder you see out there? And he goes, anything on the newer John Deeres. He said, they're all made just to be replaced. You can't rebuild them. Yep, boy, it sounds like it's happening in the John Deere, the tractor world. It sounds like it's garage doors. It sounds like it's cars. It's like, who was I talking to? I was even talking to a builder about lumber. And he's like, man, we sent back like 150 boards. He's like, 2x4s. They're all bent and stuff. And I'm like, hey, why has stuff got to be such crappy quality? Those are the ones that are looking of a friend. What you got there, Rich? LiftMaster should have lifetime warranty on the motor and belt. Yeah, that's true. Evan's got a good point. He says, Eric, I thought they did do the belt. I didn't know about the DC motors. I know the AC motors back in the day, right? Back in the day, the AC motors always had lifetime warranty on them. That was always the gimmick. It could be a box store, it could be the LiftMaster, it could be Chamberlain, and they always did lifetime on the motor, you know, internal motor, but not the head unit. But yeah, I thought the belts were too. I thought that was kind of I remember seeing that too. The belts were always, you know, which I've seen a few guys out there have showed me pictures and stuff, and I've seen them where they have failed. I don't remember really why. They just something stretched, they broke somehow, but it's not real common. I mean, I don't come across a lot of belts unless it's like a door that's really out of balance, an old wood door. Oh, right. Rich has got it here. He says, never seen a motor go out. Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes I know on the old Osco commercial openers, you know, when they started blowing capacitors, it typically meant the motor was starting to get weak. And I've had some old openers that I'd never like technically diagnosed, but you know, they start blowing, maybe they blow a capacitor, but sometimes I put a capacitor in and never hear from the customer again. So it was maybe just like a one-off, or it was a hot summer day and maybe they're running the door a little excessive. Maybe it was a yard sale going on. I don't know. The dog was in and out or something. You know, but then it's like they seem like they get so crusty to that certain point, you know what I mean? And like I said, you know, just one of those things, my opinion, you know, openers are so stinking cheap. You know, they haven't gone up with inflation in a sense. I mean, not if you're buying the professionals have gone up a little bit, but the box stores, it's like that. It's like, who said it? Somebody was telling me, I think it's like, that's their lost leader. You know what I mean? That the opener is just to bring you in, you know, and then it's like, oh, but you need a garage door. Those things have gone up a few $100 or $1,000. You know what I mean? So, but like openers, I go in the store all the time and I'm just like, how can they sell? Like, I can't buy that opener for that. Like, I mean, yes, my opener is going to be a little better, but I cannot buy it cheaper than the box store, you know, and there is a cheaper product, but I just always like, man, they're always just, I feel like you're kind of getting me, you know, like, you know, customers, because otherwise, like I said, they're the ones that always train them, in my opinion. They've always trained the customer. You know, every opener for residential always comes with 2 remotes and one outside keypad. And it's like you'd hand them one remote and they're like, where's the second one? And I'm like, this is a professional series. I'm like, it only comes with one. And maybe they didn't read the fine print in the quote. And they're like, well, don't you think everyone should come with 2 remotes? And it's like, you know what? Let me go look at my truck. I might have one just on my visor. You know, give them my one that's like 3 months old or something for whatever, you know, another property. You know, here, have this one. You know, hopefully it dies on you in 2 months. You know, don't call me. Evan, 16 by 7. Ooh, should be here Wednesday. Then have to figure out when to meet with low headroom customer and discuss options. Sweet. Is a 16 by 7 going to be another Steelcraft for opener or for garage door? I mean, just curious. But like I said, that customer, man, you gotta. That one needs low headroom. Oh, they. Uh, Ooh, Eric says I thought Mr. T did away with the cafe. BS. Maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't really investigate it, but I just know, and it's like it seems like it's one of those things. All that stuff takes a long time. They just don't boom shut it off. It's kind of like I'm sure, Tanner was getting his hopes up. So was I. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie about the emissions for the diesels. But it's like we're never gonna go back. You know how that always like it's like we might take one step back, but then we take 20 steps forward, not in the right direction. It seems like, but. I just don't. Like I said, gonna have to keep driving these older vehicles. At least you can work on them. If you get a good one that's a lot of production, there's a lot of aftermarket parts. But yeah, oof. Rich's guy, he says we can only hope. Yeah, that's the truth, man. I tell you, like I said, I'd love to see it, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see GM start making some good V8s again. You know what I mean? And get away. Like I had no clue. I think there's I don't know what his channel is. I just know I think it's Anthony. There's a guy out there. I know he works for Meineke. I think he's in Pennsylvania. Um, and he talks a lot about. There's a lot of guys out there do talk about the weight of oil. I didn't have the clue. I had no clue about the weight of the oil so much like that. I just always, I'm kind of always been that guy that whatever the manufacturer recommends, that's what I put in. And I can't disagree that when you pour in 020, 0W20 oil into a car, it looks like water. You know what I mean? And when you look on a chart, what the scale is for that, yeah, we don't like where I live, up in, mid Michigan, we typically don't see that kind of cold of weather. So, it's kind of like, holy crap, probably should be using it heavier. Now they talk about it brings the oil up quicker and stuff like that. But I agree with this one guy. He said, I've never seen an engine puke out because of the weight of oil. He says that one guy talks about running 1540 and everything. I was like, 1540, that's always been diesels to me, But I do understand that a thinner or a thicker little bit of oil that film, how the shear power of it works. So, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. But the crap I didn't realize was that they're doing it because, when the motor's spinning, splashing through the oil and stuff, all that kind of stuff, it gets better gas mileage. Great. I'm not so worried about gas mileage. I'm more worried about longevity, and it's funny how what got me is they were saying these same motors in other countries, they tell them to use a different weight oil. It's like, what? And it's because here, I didn't know this stuff. I mean, these are the things that are always behind the scenes that us as consumers never know about. And then our car pukes out, the transmission pukes out, but they tell you, oh, it's, lifetime transmission fluid, right? Okay. Atmosphere, dirt, ventilation. No. Eric says Toyota's trash now. I would have to agree. I don't know how I'm assuming they still make Toyota Camrys. I don't know how the Toyota Camrys are holding up. I think this was the last year, or last year was the last year of the Toyota 4Runner, the bulletproof. I don't remember what it is. This is 6-cylinder something, the 4.0. But I know the Tacoma, I think's had some problems. I know the Toyota Tundra's had a lot of problems, and I pray for those people, man. I can't do that. I can't go buy a brand new truck and have the darn thing wrapped up in the shop for 2, 3, 6 months, and then it seems like the value of the truck would go down, in my opinion. Like they well, it's got a new truck, or it's got a new motor. The old motor only had 300 miles on it, but now this one's got a new motor in it. Yeah, so some mechanics in here been like some snot-nosed kid that's probably just, I never realized, they typically give the warranty work to the lowest person on the totem pole. What? At the dealership? I'm like, oh, I've only had one yellow Stanley Deluxe completely die. The Stanley, only replaced is because electronics failed or getting replacement motors would take too long to get. Makes sense. It's funny too. I feel like the remotes are like the ink cartridges, right? It's like, you know how like when you buy the printer, you're like, it's like $200, huh? $230 or something, whatever. Not too bad. And then it's like you go to buy ink cartridges, and you're like, what? You're like $60 per ink cartridge? You got to be freaking kidding me! I might just like I just go buy another printer, and I mean for $30 more. And of course, it seems like when you get the new printer, right, they don't give you a nice full cartridge, just like a partial full one, for whatever, for shipping purposes. And oh man, it's just so garage door remotes are like the same. That's why it's important if you want to have an opening or rebuild or something. It's nice to ask customers, say, hey, you can sugarcoat it a little bit too and tell them, say, hey, do you have the old remotes? We'll recycle them for you. And sometimes they, oh yeah, we got both of them right here. And the remotes are expensive, right? It could be $40, $60 depending on which ones you have to get. Oh, Rich B's guy says disposal world now. Absolutely. Isn't that the truth? It sure is a shame. That's why I was seeing something too, and it was talking about, and that's what's weird about it, right? If come on, people, wake up, right? If we're trying to save the planet, you know what I mean? Then we don't need to be throwing fridges and microwaves and TVs and stuff like that into landfill. You know what I mean? Can you imagine all the stuff that could be repaired and they had a replacement parts instead? Nope. The manufacturer, that doesn't work good for them. Just make a fridge last 5, 8 years and you just have to wheel that puppy out. That's why I typically try to buy, like when you try to buy good products, like when we like bought, what was it, the dryer? I think it was a 1,200, a Speed Queen. Sons of biscuits are expensive, but I tell you what, I do not. I don't know if I've been punished as a kid. We moved a lot of not a lot of vehicles, but we moved a lot of appliances and furniture when I was a kid, because we had the truck. But I don't like. That's my least favorite thing to do, even when it's mine. Even when it's mine, I'm like, wife's like, fridge died. I'm like, are you serious? Like, the inconvenience, the moving it, got to get the moving guys. You got to go shop for something. You got to spend, it's like, to me, I'm like, I'd rather just pay double. And if I get double the lifespan or triple, that's great. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it. But it's amazing when I was looking for a fridge too a long while back. There's really no American made fridges. There's one, but it's a little clunky. I think GE made it for a fridge. Otherwise, you had to go to some weird brand it was, and they're expensive. They're like $2,400, $3,600. It's like, wow. The new pine lumber. Oh yeah, the new pine lumber. Yeah, that's why they got the rings, right? The rings aren't as tight. It's crazy. It's crazy when you think about it. I don't know. It's like it makes me wonder too. I was just thinking about this with gasoline. My opinion. I don't know if this is true or not. When they when I used to work at Penske, right? When it was attached to the Kmart, and give me give me a number. If you remember the Penske attached to the Kmart, hit a number one in the comments or something, right? But anywho, I when I worked there, right, the guy came in, one of the technicians I worked with, and I remember he was a little bit older than me, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, man!" He's like, "I just can't believe it. I heard on the radio that they're going to start watering down the gasoline." Another seasoned master tech that's been there for years. He's like, "You don't know what the hell you're talking about, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "No, it said they're going to start watering it down." And I just always remember them kind of going back and forth. You can't add water, and I think what was going on, in this, like I said, my opinion, I think they were obviously adding ethanol. And from what I understand, the ethanol is just really, it's not that good in a sense. Like that's why when you buy that E85, you get worse gas mileage. And then when you do the math, you're like, so I'm buying it cheaper, but I go through it quicker. So it doesn't have the BTUs, the explosion power. So, and then when they're adding 10% ethanol to our gas, I think that's what was happening back in the day. And this is many years ago. They're diluting our gasoline. So it's like, I think this is my opinion. My conspiracy man. I got to put where's my tinfoil hat? But anywho, they were watering it down to give Americans what they want, right? To give Americans what they want. They want some cheaper gasoline. Well, we'll give you some cheaper gasoline. It's just watered down. You're going to have to buy more of it because now it's got 10% ethanol in it. Because then it's funny when you buy the rec fuel, right? The non-ethanol gasoline. You see how much that stuff costs? It's like, I don't know, it's like 450, 460, I think, roughly for a gallon. That's what you're supposed to be using in your lawnmowers and stuff like that. Any small engines, because it doesn't supposedly break down the hoses and that so much. And that other stuff tracks moisture. When you do a lot of research, just like our oils don't have zinc in it anymore, kind of sounds like the food we're eating, doesn't it? Da, da, da. All lumber is not old growth. No, it's farm fast grow. Oh my gosh. And the grain is not tight. Yeah, I wonder how they do that. I wonder what their procedure. I've never seen a farm for growing trees now. I wonder what that's like. What they probably got like hoses to them now and injecting them. Makes them grow in like 2 years fully. I've only been old openers have what is this? Eric says I've only been old openers have motor failures. I don't know. Yes. Another Steelcraft. Oh, this is the one the insurance is paying for. Ooh. Ooh. I don't know if how long Evan's going to be on here, but I'm curious. I'm wondering for Evan though. I'm wondering, did he already get half down? Because you know how you know where I'm going with this, guys. You know what I'm talking about. Like, you know how this is going to work, right? He's going to do the work, and then insurance is going to be like, do you got your liability? Do you got this? Do you got do you got car insurance? You got, I'm just curious if they're gonna, or they're just gonna cut a check, or they already cut a check to the homeowner, and they're just gonna issue it to him. You know what I mean? I guess it doesn't matter. Homeowner's paying, right? Homeowner cut me a check. But that's one of those jobs that I don't know. I get that like 10% in me right now where I'd say, I would probably make sure they cut me a check before I leave instead of, oh no, the insurance is going to send you one or something. I don't know. Maybe Canada's different. I don't know. But you know how that goes. I just, we need to get, or maybe he's got half done. That'd be great. Maybe the customer paid for it. Better yet. This is how I feel about remotes. The single car doors get one, and two car doors get two. Code pads are extra unless comes with one. It's true. It's true. So it's kind of like, so I'm going to add to Eric's. I agree. I think I agree with that. You know what I mean? I agree. But this one's gonna have it's gonna have a 18 by 8, and then it's a 9 or 10 by 8. I can't remember the width on it quite. But what I'm gonna do is probably just give 4 remotes total. It's gonna be included into it. Probably gonna do 2 keypads, even though that's excessive. You know what I mean? But it's like one of those things. Like these are all those things like from me. Having employees and subs and stuff like that, and myself. Even when I go out there, I'd rather just have it there because I'm gonna be raw dogging it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna have a full service vehicle, so like extra stuff is not gonna be on the itinerary, and so I need to make sure it's just already there. It's in the box. It came with it. It's in a separate box, whatever. But there's nothing worse than when you're finishing up the job and it's like now you got to come back. Oh, and then you got to try to get in there, right? And you know how it's gonna work, right? The wife's SUV is gonna be in there. You know what I mean? And she's gonna be like, you know what I mean? Oh, I went out with the ladies for lunch, so I won't be home. And you're like, oh, but your car is right in the way. I really don't want to put a scratch on it, And it's like the door was already open. How many times does anybody else ever experience? Like when you got to go back, it sucks. It sucks. It's like the gateway. The heavens were open, and now you're like, oh man, now they got a boat in here. Now they got, and it's some story of something, right? You show back up, you told them they must have forgot, the door's locked. You're like, oh my gosh, it's like, it's like this $40 remote. I might as well just go throw $40 out the window. You know what I mean? Because they're not home. I got to reschedule. You call them. Oh, we're sorry about that. Shoot, we're on vacation. We're in Florida. Oh. The LSVA, I was actually just looking up another V8 for another vehicle for a powertrain for it because it actually has way more power and torque than what's in there, even though it's a diesel. But Yeah, those things were really very simple. I don't know. I mean, you can't go wrong with those. Those really basic. The non, what is it? What do they call it? What do they call it? It's fuel management something. I forget. They got two different words they call it. But yeah, when they started doing that, boy, eating up cams. Can't believe how many videos I see of cams getting eaten up. Eric says he says the Tundra is awful. Go buy Chevy or Ford. Back to work. Catch you later. See you, Evan. Have a good day. That's why I buy the old appliances, especially if you get like the yellow ones that were in Grandma's house. Those things are gonna outlive you. See ya, Scott. Printers agree. This game says HP has instant ink. He says subscription scam $15 a month. Whoa! I think we're over to like Epson or something. It was we used to do the Brothers. I think Brothers printers, and then we used to like sometimes refill. That started becoming a problem. So now it's like the I forget what it's called, Epsons or Epsos or something. Those ones you can like they actually make it real easy for you to refill them. So it's like I don't know, those ones work the best so far. But they do jam up after a while if you don't use them for like 6 months to a year. Have found that out. Got to use them. Like the Kmart? Oh, Kmart, the blue light special. Miss the store? Yeah, it was nostalgic, man. The old Kmart. I miss it too. I used to miss my little red Penske suit, working on my tire machine. The sounds that it used to make. Mario, he says, "What's up? What's up, man? I'm looking to break into the residential garage door industry. Well, come on. We need some help. We need some competition." No, I'm just joking. There's plenty. There's plenty of work out there. Just all depends on how much you want to hustle, how much you want to break your back, how much you want to do, how much you want to lose sleep. Nah, it just all depends. It's all good. Epson has. Oh, that's right there. Epson has a printer that has a new built-in ink tank. There you go. That's the one. That's the one. Eric's got it right there. So you can buy like $10 bottles. Yep, yep. That's the ones that we use. They work pretty good so far. Definitely recommend them. Come from commercial door, automatic swing doors, and locksmith. Ooh, so you got a lot of experience. You could probably handle some of this stuff. So this is my way to start doing some research. But industry treating y'all well? That's a good question. I would say I don't. It's kind of like I said. Right now, at least for the like I said, I'm gonna Uncle Dave's opinion, right? It's still not really hopping. I think I don't know if anybody else has seen this. Put it in the comments if you have or haven't. One of the two, right? I've even noticed uh, this Memorial weekend. It's just I had to do some traveling, and I noticed I was out Thursday, Friday. Today's Monday, so I think I was out Sunday. I mean, I was out every day pretty much, and I didn't notice a lot of traffic like I normally do. Um, I seen UTVs. I seen some UTVs. I've seen a few pieces of equipment. Like some people probably maybe going up to their cottage or something to do whatever. Maybe a little backhoeing or something. But definitely didn't see the traffic. We went out to the lake the other day, and I noticed the boat traffic. Now, mind you, the weather has been a little cooler, but it just feels like I don't know where they gone. I don't know where the people went. It's kind of like I'm like wondering if it's a money. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I just noticed I'm like, boy, it's not as hopping as it normally is. So I think it's partially to do with some of the weather a little bit, and then also with the vacation. I mean, we had beautiful weather though. I mean, sunshine and everything, but 60s, 65, nothing hitting 70. So I don't know. Like I said, I get the feeling. I really truly believe the economy is not that good a shape. I think there's little pockets. I think we get little bursts, um, but there's not a lot of how can you when you think about it common sensely, how can you? The prices of everything are just going up and up and up and up. And so, as much as prices go up, I mean, it's not like my paycheck goes up as fast as inflation goes up. So, you know what I mean? Got Epson, chip Scott, tank, printer, the ET3850. Sounds like a garage door opener. 70 M1 refill lead printer always on, so it's constantly cleans the printer head. Oh, really? Didn't know that. It's kind of weird because we get problems with the one at the shop because the guys we use Jobber, and so nobody prints stuff anymore. You know what I mean? So the one at the shop will actually go bad. So maybe it was unprinted or unplugged, but maybe the brothers brand. Am I saying that right? Brothers. Maybe they didn't. Maybe the head didn't clean as good, or maybe it got unpowered too. I don't know. That one, the head went bad because it just never got used. So we kind of told ourselves, probably have to go over there and fire it up every, once a month or something just to try to keep it active. Oh, my trusty old uh, gas station lighter thing just broke. I've had it for quite a while. It's nothing. It's nothing special, right? It's just a cat broke off it. But I always liked it 'cause it's got this. It's got the real torch, which works great. I don't do it because I'm smoking all the time. I have a cigar once in a while, but I do it because it's just part of my gear I typically carry for work. Because if you ever live up in the northerly climates, right, where it gets cold up in Michigan, and you get a lock that freezes up on you, you know, nothing like a little torch, heat up the lock to get your key in there and turn it. That is what I'm talking about, Chip. Eric's guy, he says, I miss Kmart. Eric says, he says, our economy is ass. Yep. That's kind of, like I said, it's just not, it's not like, I never talk about it to discourage, right? Because it's like, I always think about planting a tree. When's a good time to plant a tree? 2 years ago. So it's a good time to do anything. I'm just trying to caution people that it's just like, I'm not that, I'm not that YouTuber that's gonna go, oh, you guys come out here, man, I'm making $1 million a day. It's not, the economy's just not. It ain't even. It was better in the COVID stage. I mean, there was way more business then than there is now. You know what I mean? And just like back in the 2005 and six era, right? I mean, the economy was way better then than it is now. It seems like we always just keep kind of hitting a trickle down. They got to give you the stimmy. They got to give you a little stimmy in the arm, and then everybody kind of wakes back up, and it's like, oh, let's go spend. Um, but right now, I mean, everything's kind of probably at a stalemate a little bit, too. I mean, sitting here thinking about houses and stuff. I mean, people are locked in. I mean, the interest rates are high, so I mean, there's not a lot of movement. There's not a lot of people, switching houses or maybe flipping houses even. So it's just kind of. I know the builders aren't building that much around here. They're starting to they're building the smaller houses right now. It seems like they're converted to some of them I've seen. They're building more, not environmentally friendly, but more budget friendly. Single family homes. Smaller footprints. 1,200 square feet, 800 square feet. Nothing. But they still want 300,000 for them. I'm like, holy crap! I'm like, that's a lot of money and it's not even an acre of land. It's a quarter or half. Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, we got another Canadian. Canada? Oh, nice. We need some more Canada people. That's always good. It's always nice to see what's going on the other side. Prices up there though are just. We got Evan. Evan feeds us a lot of information on this channel, and man, he tells me prices, and I'm like, garage door openers, everything. I'm like, and I've talked to a few people up there, and I've heard kind of what their wages are, and I'm like, holy moly! I'm like, those are like America prices and for wages, and I'm like, your guys' stuff is like double the price too. I'm like, holy cow! But I hear it all the time about other countries. Maybe if you know another country that you can live like a king, put it in the comments or hit me up in the email or something, or shoot me a text. I'm just always curious. It sounds like sometimes though you make certain money here and you can live like a king in other countries. I'm starting to wonder. But I know I was thinking about it today. I was like, I should go to another country. I was like, and I was like, sure as hell I ain't going to Canada. Too expensive there. Um, Eric says, Mara, you got to ask around and look for jobs. Evan is that area. He might be able to help. Yeah, Evan's out there. He's getting these. The biggest thing is like I was just telling. I think I was telling one of the kids the other day, and it's like I really do believe there is a there can be a demand in like anything. You know what I mean? It's just how much you hustle. A lot of this always really comes down to it. It's just a lot of grinding. It's a lot of grinding. It's a lot of late hours. It's out there doing the evening stuff, and you know, um, you can make it as big as you want to make it. You can make it as small as you want. It's just you just got to be, you got to be smart. You got to know how to not waste time, and you got to keep moving. Every minute of every day, you got to be thinking business. Holy crap, I got 20 minutes here. I'm sitting at the train stop or something, whatever, right? Or I'm sitting here laying in my bed at night and I'm spending 2 to 3 hours just screwing around on the internet. Put a post up, put a picture up, do Facebook, do Twitter, whatever, do X, do whatever, do anything that, do Craigslist, do anything where you can just try to get people to see you, and you just never know they're gonna click. You know what I mean? You got to get on the old Google, start working on that. It all takes time. It all takes time. That's why it's not a quick switch. It takes time, but that's why it's like growing a tree, right? And you're like, man, I wish I had a shade tree. It takes time. It takes time for it to grow. Um, yeah. Call 4 or 5 companies. I keep trying for sure. Thanks for insight. Says, yeah, in Canada, everything here is wildly overpriced. Wow. Make 80. Okay, yeah. Year and doesn't get me far. No, man. Hey, and I really appreciate you putting that out there. You know what I mean? I really, I really like the honesty, and it's not to, I never want to humiliate anybody. Hey, not like Uncle Dave's a multi millionaire. You know what I mean? But it's tough. I sit there and I see those prices and I go, holy crap, man! I go the price, for garage door openers and stuff, and I just go, wow. I go, if I'm up in Canada, man, you got to double hustle. You know what I mean? It's don't give me a single shot, give me double shot, because it's a lot more. Um, I don't know what's going on up there. I was, it's weird because when in the media can spin things, so you hear stuff and you're like, you know, Canada, this or that, they're kind of the guinea pigs, and they got all these things going, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, and we aren't, like I'm sitting there and it's like sometimes you sit there and start thinking, you go, what am I being brainwashed with? And I'm wondering about, if you went to, it's like, where was I at? I was watching something, and this guy, I think he went over to Japan, and he was walking around and look, he's like, none of the bikes are locked up. He's like, it's because they'll fine you or they'll punish you so badly over here. Um, he's like, look at the streets. He's like, the streets are clean. He's like, you feel safe. And I was just, and he could be over exaggerating. I've never been to Japan, but I know one thing they were talking about. It seemed like something about, they must hit hard over there for marijuana. And he's like, it's a $4,000 fine if you're caught outside. And I thought, holy cow, like a $4,000 fine if you're smoking a doobie outside? Wow. Like, I just can't believe, like I went, like, I wish there was things in America, for trash. Like I've noticed in our certain areas now, they don't even check for speed. It seems like people just are hauling hiney everywhere. And it's just like, they can't punish you. I mean, everything's on body cam. I think we just had one up here in Michigan, a cop that ended up shooting another individual, and he went to court about it big time. And it's like what my uncle always tells me. He says, Dave, he says, it's not that hard. He says, all you got to do is when the cop's yelling at you, You stop and put your hands up. That's it. He's like, it's not rocket science. He's like, and I'm like, man, I can't disagree with that. You know what I mean? Like I watch these people sometimes with their kids and they're doing bad things in grocery stores or convenience stores, and I'm like, I hope I never have to be there. But I tell you what, I sure as hell am not going to be the guy that, well, my kid, they should have never, this that. The kid was stealing. The kid was doing something wrong. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying they should get justified in taking lead, but I'm just saying, like, if they're running and then they go to pull something out of their pocket and they look at the, like, things happen. You know what I mean? Like, stop. Like, just take your punch. Go get your day in court. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just better to comply. And so I don't know, man. I just sometimes it just doesn't feel like we have enough punishment in the world anymore. A dream where they bulldozed a whole part of Red Hood and built small ass houses right next to each other. Yeah, you never know, man. Right? That's what they're saying, right? You're gonna own nothing and you're gonna be happy. That's how it's gonna be. Pushing. What does it say? Pushing the flesh. What's that mean? What's that mean, Rich? What do you got on there? Pushing. But yeah, like I said, I think there's pockets. I think there's always demand. I mean, I do believe who's the one guy? Is it Mike Rowe? Right, Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs. He's got that voice. He's got always a good voice. Um, but I agree with him. I mean, there is a change, and there is more. We need more trades. And it's hard, man. It's hard to find people that do good work too. You know what I mean? That's one thing I would really, really, really focus on is, be, a man or a woman of your word, you know what I mean? And do what you say you're going to do the best job that you can do, and, try to do good quality work. You know what I mean? That's the big thing. Just, it's not really that hard, but it is hard to make the phone ring when you're first starting out. Mr. Caleb's seeing that. I'm sure Evan's experienced that. Everybody's experienced it. That's why I'm always like, you know, it's not like, because you went and bought the new Milwaukee tools. Yeah, that's for you. You know what I mean? You're not there yet. Or, well, I'm gonna go pay the $1,200 or $2,500 for the school training. If you got money to burn, go ahead. But right now, you need the phone to ring, right? You need to get experience. You need to deal with the customer. You need to deal with some backlash. But it's great if you can stay more local. If you can stay close, that way, if you did something that was a little bit hairy and you're like, I don't know if I did a good job or not, and they call back and they say, hey, that J arm fell apart. The bolts rattled out. You're like, okay, not a problem. It's only 5 or 10 minutes away. But when you got to travel, when you start doing that 2 hour stuff, hour and a half stuff, not a big fan of that. Says they do a lot of shaming in those countries. And let's even talk about the Middle East. He says, yeah. He says you lose limbs. Holy cow. Yeah, yeah. You know, and like I said, it's always amazing to me. You just never know. You know what I mean? What they're saying on the media, which is true or not true, and you know, I don't know. I don't know. I know I was talking to one of my uncles one time, and I forget what countries that was, like Dubai or something. I don't remember where, but he was just like he went over there too. I remember, and I remember one thing he was telling me about. He says the food. He said I came back, and he's like I don't remember if he lost like 15 or 20 pounds or something like that. He came back and his mom was talking to him, and said, "Oh my gosh, did you not eat while you were over there?" He's like, "Mom," he goes, "I ate like a king." And he says, "Dave," he goes, "I'll tell you what, man." He's like, "As soon as I came back here to America," and he says, "I had a burger." He says, even the bun tastes sweet." And I thought, oh, say no more. I get it, man. Like, everything is made to make you consume more and make it sweet so you want more, right? And I thought, he goes, but over there, he goes, everything's way more bland. He says, you eat bread, it doesn't taste sweet. He says, you just eat what you need to eat, And so I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I know, I think, was it JFK or whatever? He's doing some stuff right now too. So we'll see. I mean, it takes so long to get everything retooled. And I don't know. Do, do, do. A lot of shaming. those limbs. They'll take your arms off and all that kind of stuff. What do we got here? We'll go about maybe 12:45. Like I said, and if you got any more questions, um, Mario or something too, like on the garage door stuff, ask away. I like that kind of stuff. The guys like it. It's always good. If you got anything, what you did, what you've seen, anything. That's why I do the lives. The lives are always open, free for alls, off topic. Doesn't matter. And I appreciate the info on the openers because, like I said, I gotta wrap that up. I'm gonna, you know, you know, just don't always get the days off, right? When you're doing business, you're always thinking business, right? Got to get those customers, got to get them sent out. Send them out so then they can either say yay or nay, or they got problems. Ooh, look at that. Sugar is cocaine. I ain't gonna lie, I got a little sweet tooth, man. Sugar is, man. They say sugar is more addicting than like any other drug or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know that, no doubt, no doubt. That stuff is bad, not good. Randy's guy says Rick B says that's what Trump is doing, and I hope he gets through with it. You know what I mean? It's already. I think does it go through Congress or something next? Was it this big beautiful bill? We'll see. We'll see how that works out. I don't know. We'll see. Getting rid of some of that. It's the Medicaid, is it? Medicaid, Medicare, Medicaid. Medicaid is the state. Medicare is government or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see. The best thing to do, really, honestly, just remember there's only one person that's going to take better care of you, and that's you, and your friends, and your neighbors, and your family, and things of that nature. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. You know what I mean? Can't expect these politicians to take care of us. That's just how it kind of goes. They can make things maybe a little easier than that, but like I was telling the one guy, because me and another guy we got a I'm more Republic, he's more Democrat, and you know, I just always tell him, I say it's always a clown show. I really, it's more proof is in the pudding. And I said, one thing I've noticed is, I said, no matter who, I said, kind of seems like whoever kind of comes in and it's in a nutshell. I said, I never see my bank account go, like that. It's always kind of like, or, ding, ding, ding. And so right now it's like I just keep looking at this stuff and I go, we gonna pay? You're gonna pay. I'm gonna pay. And I go, I don't know if that's gonna be good or bad, but we're gonna pay some way another. Cutting the waste and fraud. That's true. Mr. T is doing. I mean, at least he's moving, man. That's one thing I give him. I love Mr. T for that. He does. He moves. That's one good thing. He's making. Um, he's moving. I just don't know if it's. I don't know. I didn't watch that whole thing on what he did to that one president about what they were doing to some of the farmers. That thing they embarrassed him on, but you know, hey, it is what it is. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I haven't heard nothing about the wall either. I've been wondering about the wall. Anything going on with the wall anymore? Like I don't hear nothing about the wall. Border security. Like, I mean, I know ICE is doing stuff, but you know, and then what's weird is like my brain. I'm always like a 50-50 guy, right? I'm never like really like, oh, 100%, unless something proves it to me very, like a product or something. But I kept thinking, I thought, oh my gosh, I thought to some degree. See, this is what I think. South Africa. Thanks, Rich. That was the president, wasn't it? And but here's the thing, right? I think about this sometimes and I go, like over the years, right? My mom actually used to be a blueberry picker. She used to when she was a young kid, she picked blueberries out of the fields. Like I don't like nobody wants to pick blueberries out of the field. Like I don't want to pick blueberries out of the field. That's like hard sun labor, you know what I mean? And so like it's weird because sometimes I think about it and I see at least a lot of around my area, at least the construction that a lot of, immigrants and stuff. And I'm like, man, and there's a lot of them that do good work and I sometimes I wonder, I go, if we get rid of this labor, are we kind of shooting ourselves? So like now somebody else has to pick it up. And so then that makes like housing and everything else go up, the construction go up. And so I just never know. Obviously I don't think we should bring people in at the masses that they were and then illegally. That's stupid. That just don't do that. But it just makes me wonder. I just go, it's kind of like when I heard the story about talking about even government. I'm all about lease regulations, but sometimes when I think about where I go, if they get rid of so many, because I think we're at what 30%. I think we're at like 30% is basically makes up our workforce, which is government. And it's like, holy crap! Like if they drop, those people out of work, and then those people don't spend money, and it's amazing how we're all interconnected so much. It really is crazy to me. Where like I've watched stuff, like you watch stuff on the news, and then the thing is now is stuff comes so fast, so lightning speed, so we can all just clam up, right? We hear bad news, and it's like, like like maybe COVID was to see how fast they could clam up. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, let's see how fast it takes people, or they're gonna revolt, or and I don't know. That's a deep rabbit hole. What's up, Mr. Sky? Glad you're here. Hope you're doing good. Memorial Day, yeah, rocking it. Nice, nice. Sky, are you still got the Ranger? You still got the red Ford Ranger? I'm just curious. Sweet little truck. Cheap. AC travel module kit. The 0 something dash 7 for half hour, 3/4 looks the same. Have you used one for the other without problems? No, I can't say I have. But maybe if you do, let me know if it works. You can always email me. I typically put it in the description of daveadubson@gmail.com. Let me know if it works or don't. If you try it, hey, I mean, if it's got the same part number, I'd just do it. Okay, yes. Audrey says in this, it says, yes, and snakes. Ooh, Rich has got, oh, okay, that's good. That's true. That's true. Don't need wall military is running patrol now. Fair enough. Fair enough. I was always told too many chiefs, not enough Indians. I don't doubt. I don't doubt that, man. I don't doubt that. Like I said, you got to be. You need to go into politician. That's where the problem is. You'll turn corrupt like them. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of politicians that go in there probably with good intentions. I think that a lot of things. I think some people could agree with us. Hey, I see we got 10 likes too. Thank you. Um, I'll tell you, it's more on like a personal note. Like I said, it's my opinion, but it's just it's kind of weird. Like when you go through life and you start becoming an older man, it's funny how like you realize there's a lot of like bureaucracy, if I'm saying that right, and a lot of red tape, and like so many things that seem like they were not explained to you. You know what I mean? Like you're like sometimes you're like, damn. You're like, I went to school, and you're like, they didn't teach me this crap in school. I mean, I just like Caleb, right? Love him. He tells the Wafertron the other day or something. He says about he's got to get his checks, and he goes, well, I'm gonna have to learn how to write a check, and I'm like, I was in the same boat. I remember the first time to write a check. I'm like, Mom, can you come over? I got to write this check. It's got like these blank lines. There's no instructions. And of course, at my age, right, we didn't have Google or anything. I'd have to go probably have to go buy a book from Barnes and Noble, how to write checks for dummies, And so she came over, showed me, but just so many things that you never realize, like there's kind of like the doctors. I'm sure doctors, I want to save lives. I want to go in there, I want to do all that stuff. And there's restrictions, there's things they can say, there's things they can practice, there's things they can do. Otherwise, you're going to lose your license, and it's so see what I mean? Like there's always something with like losing your license that's always behind the scenes. Like if you don't do what we tell you to do and say, like when I had a guy work for me, he worked at the hospital. And I always told him, I said, hey, what can you tell me about the place? And he says, well, I loved how he explained it. He goes, this is how this hospital works. He goes, think of it as like aspirin, and aspirin and Tylenol, I think is what he said. But he says this hospital, all they will sell is Tylenol. He says, even though the doctor believes in aspirin, he says they still have to sell Tylenol. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? So it's like, and I thought, I get that. Well, it's just like at Affordable Door and Gate, right? If I wanted to be, I could be a real jerk and tell all the guys and workers and secretaries, I could say, don't you ever say anything about Genie Garage Door. We don't touch Genie. Those are forbidden. It's always LiftMaster. You know what I mean? But I don't do that. I let them decide. Like if you feel like that's a good fit, and it changes. I like to have options. Things change. Products, companies get bought out. So something to think about. Do. Yeah, the Ford Ranger is alive and well. Oh no, the Toyota has a burnt valve on cylinder 3. Gotta work it till it dies. I have 1 year to do it. He says I gotta go. What do you say? Gotta go pick blueberries? Whoa, go pick some blueberries. I used to like stealing. We used to take them from the farmer behind my dad's old house. Have a great one, everyone. Awesome, man. I wish I could ask him about that burnt valve. I wonder if it's just to give him a blow by or if it's giving him a misfire or both. I'm just curious because I got a motor that's doing something that's a little bit, it's kind of a little bit more excessive blow by than I think, but darn thing doesn't miss a beat. But where's all that blow by? Probably the cylinders, but it's weird. It's got a totally open PVC system and it doesn't blow out there. It blows out the cap more than it does out of the PVC system. So I don't know. I checked to make sure it wasn't plugged. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. Crazy. All right, guys, I think I'm going to head out. Hope you guys have a good Memorial Day. Hope you just have a good day. It's always a blessing to be alive, isn't it? Right? And instead of 6 feet under, Otherwise, I'm going to keep picking up. I got to go put that quote. If you got anything, text me, email me, leave the comments, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see you on the next one. I see Rich is blowing my phone up. Always appreciate it. We'll see you. Have a great day. Keep the fingers.